Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I have gotten a few questions from moms on my channel who are either just about to start homeschooling or they're just considering homeschooling, and they've messaged me saying like, where do I start? How do I start this homeschooling journey? And I remember being in the exact same place and just feeling a little bit overwhelmed at the start. Like, where do I start? And I remember I was teaching piano at the time when I was talking to one of my students' parents about this. I had a lot of homeschooled piano students. And Elijah, my oldest, was probably, I want to say 3. So I was kind of thinking about homeschooling. And I was telling one of the moms, like, I am nervous, like I don't know where to start in looking for curriculum. And she said to me, probably in a little bit of a short way, like, come on. To me as a newbie, I was like, oh, I don't know. But she said to me, and it has stuck with me, she said, all they need to know is reading, writing, and math. Like, that's all they need to do at the beginning. It's simple. And now that I'm at the stage I am now, I see that. But at the time, it was a little bit overwhelming to me. But that did give me a little bit of peace of mind, thinking, okay, as long as they are learning to read, they are learning to write, they are beginning to learn math, that's really all they need at the beginning. So I wanted to mention this video is not really for people who, let's say, are pulling their kids out of school and starting to homeschool at like grade 5, 6, older grades, even grade 2 or 3. I don't know. I have a hard time seeing where to start there, because obviously I've never done that. I started homeschooling my kids right from the beginning. So maybe you could take some tips from this either way, but this is mostly directed for moms or dads who are just beginning this homeschool journey as their kids are entering that school age. So once my kids entered kindergarten age, I really found it quite a natural progression from them being preschool age. When they are in preschool, you're often asking them, like, what color is this? And what letter is this? And what sound does this make? And what kind of shape is this? And you're kind of getting that groundwork in for school, whether you're homeschooling or not, at that preschool age. And so I found kindergarten to be quite a smooth stepping stone from that. Really, we keep it real simple. Like when they're kindergarten age, we're doing school probably 2 or 3 days a week, an hour, hour and a half, maybe, of actual sitting at the table and doing book work. And then we're doing read alouds. And of course, like I said, just a lot of talk and constantly educating, like we should be doing anyways with our children throughout the day. But that actual sitting at the table and doing book work is quite a short amount of time. So when they're sitting at the table for that hour, hour and a half, if that, we are really just learning the basics of how to read, how to write, letter sounds, counting, and all that kind of information. And I will let you guys know nearer to the end of this video, I will touch on some of that curriculum that we like to use for kindergarten. As you know, if you watch my videos, you don't need a schoolroom, you don't need desks. Your school, your home school, does not need to replicate a school classroom. And there are many methods to homeschool, and some methods are more traditional, some are way opposite from traditional, and so there are a lot of different methods of homeschool that maybe I'll get into that a little bit after too. But your school does not need to replicate public school. We do all of our schoolwork, most of our schoolwork, at our kitchen table. We do a lot of it on the couch. The kids will do their reading on the couch. A lot of the stuff where I'm reading to the kids, we're sitting on the couches. And so don't think that you need to have a set classroom and desks and be super organized in order to have a homeschool. I think that as much as you try to prepare yourself for school and you're preparing yourself before your kids start school, you're never quite ready. You're never ready and just feeling like, okay, I've got this, we're good to go. You cannot totally prepare yourself. I think you're just gonna learn as you go. You'll get to learn your child and how your child learns. So as far as those methods go that I was talking about, there are a lot of different homeschooling methods. You've got Waldorf and traditional, eclectic, Charlotte Mason. There are a lot of different homeschool methods. I wouldn't worry about that too much in the beginning. My oldest is in grade 2 right now, and I don't even quite know what our method is. I've actually been thinking about it lately and thinking, I maybe should look into that a bit more and kind of see where we are tending to go. I think we're kind of Charlotte Mason style, but then kind of traditional style. I want to look into it some more. But don't let that overwhelm you before you start. I think you need to just start, get those 3 subjects in your reading, your writing, your math, those basic beginner skills, and I think you'll kind of find your rhythm after that. I think your style might be different for different children. Your children may learn differently from each other, and so maybe your style will change. You also might have this great idea of the style that you want to homeschool, and that is not the best method that works for your child. It might not be the best way your child learns, so that might change as well. But that is something worth looking into, just to see what's out there, see what the different homeschooling methods are. So as far as kindergarten curriculum goes, I have told you guys many times, if you watch my videos, I love the dry erase books. I should go run and get one of them. Okay, I'll be right back. My son, who is in junior kindergarten, is using these right now, and they are excellent. Yes, we need to wash them off. They are excellent for learning pencil control. It's very important for kids to learn how to hold a pencil, the proper pencil grip. And so this is a great kind of beginning exercise for that. And as well, just having that grip. It surprised me. So many things surprised me when I first started homeschooling my oldest son. But it was like, okay, start drawing these curvy lines. And like, he can't do it. He doesn't have that grip yet. And so it was just drawing lines, and then drawing more complex lines, and just really figuring out that pencil grip, and of course the correct pencil hold. This is another book that we're working through a lot right now, because we are doing flashcards and learning all the letters. And so as we go through them, he also traces all the letters in this book. Then of course we can erase it and he can do it again. We can erase it and he can do it again. And the best thing is, we can pass these on to the next kids as well. So it gets lots of use out of it. There are a ton of free worksheets online, and that is definitely something that I would look into. I like just to get a binder from Walmart or somewhere, and then just print up the printable worksheets and put those into the binder, and then my son can go through them all. So we have other fun pencil like letter tracing pages and number tracing pages. I like to print up some of those cutting pages too, where they can cut different patterns and kind of learn that cutting control. And I also like to print up, what else do I like to print up? Oh, when they're learning their letters, I like to print up pages that are coloring pages, like a great big A in the middle of the page, as well as an apple or an ant or other letter pictures that go along with that page. And then my son right now is coloring one of those pages every day as we're learning more letters. Another great thing to have is flashcards. So alphabet flashcards. You can buy alphabet flashcards. You can make your own. I have my own right now. I also have some that I've bought, and we kind of go back and forth between them, but where we're just going through every day. And we're not now, because my son is almost done junior kindergarten and he knows his letters, so we don't have to review it as much. But at the beginning of the year, we're going through every year and just saying the A says A, the B says B, and just going through all of our letters. And then, like I said, we also have a day, every day we focus on, or every week really, we'll focus on one letter. So we'll do the coloring page on that letter, we'll do our tracing on that letter, and just a lot of focus, like talking about different words that begin with that letter and just focusing on that letter until they really have that down. As far as beginner math goes, we're definitely working on learning to count. I like to work on counting up past 10, like to 20 and 30 and 40, and recognizing those numbers. But as well as knowing those numbers, they also need to be able to recognize the numbers and know how to count items. So again, I will have the numbers written out. So as we count to 10, I'll be pointing to those letters so he recognizes what each of those letters are from 1 to 10. We'll also, of course, do the tracing of the numbers in his dry erase book or in printables I've printed up. And then I'll just have a picture where I'll say how many apples are in this picture, and then he'll have to count them and tell me how many there are. So it's very important that they can point to the items and count those items as they go. I also like the counting bears. Okay, I'm not gonna run up and go get those, but I have they're just called counting bears. And I have a bucket of counting bears. They come in red, green, and blue. They come in small, medium, and big. And so that's just a great resource that I really like. I can just pass them a bunch of bears and say, how many did I give you? How many of them are red? How many of them are blue? Show me the little ones, show me the big ones. They also come with pattern cards where they'll have a pattern and it'll be like a small red, a big blue, a small red, a big blue, and you'll ask what comes next. So the pattern cards can be helpful too, and I just really like those counting bears. As much as they can be educational, my son also just loves to take them and just play with them, and he'll do that for a long time. If you're wanting to look for more advice and info on homeschooling, YouTube and just homeschooling blogs are so great. I have learned so much. I think back to my mom when she was homeschooling my siblings and I know she says it was easier in a way because there was not much variety at all in homeschool curriculum, so that was easy that you didn't have much to choose from. But at the same point, it was hard because you didn't have that community, and it was really, really hard to find help because was there internet? No, I don't think there was. Even if there was, no one was homeschooling back then. So to find someone in the same boat as you was really hard. And so I love this community here on YouTube where there are other homeschooling moms I can ask info from. I can just search anything, like anything, and find tons and tons of help on that specific subject and that specific method of homeschooling or whatever you're looking for. So use that to your advantage. Another thing I wanted to mention is that it kind of gets easier as you go, to me. Not that homeschooling gets easier, it definitely gets more and more involved. I need to be more and more involved as my kids are getting older, but it gets easier in that all the years I'm choosing curriculum, it's kind of like stepping stones. So once we got through kindergarten, I was like, okay, grade 1, here we go. We're still working on reading and writing and math. We're going to add, I want him to learn history and geography and start science and those kind of things. So adding on to that, I think that was a little bit harder. But then once we got to choosing grade 2 curriculum, it was like, perfect. I liked what we did here in grade 1. Let's keep that curriculum for grade 2. I didn't like this one. Let's switch it. But it was just so much easier to, for one thing, know my child and know how he learned and how he liked to learn, what worked best for him, just what worked for us, what is out there. I am so much more comfortable choosing curriculum for my kids now than I was when I first started. So I hope that answers a few of your questions. What I really want to send forth to you, what I really want to say here is it's fairly simple at the beginning. Just make sure you're doing that reading, writing, math, always learning, always teaching them. Just look for teaching opportunities. It can be simple. It doesn't need to be, you don't need to have a schoolroom. If you want to, great. I have friends that homeschool and their kids are in kindergarten and they have a big classroom and pictures all over the wall and a chalkboard and like, just elaborate, and that's great too. But whatever you have, you can definitely make do with. Please let me know if there's any other questions you have that I didn't answer. I didn't quite know where to go with this subject. I felt like it could be a huge topic or it could be small. And anyways, if you have any more questions, let me know down below or email me if you want to know as well, and that would be great. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!